Tonight on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, we have Week 16 waivers, and I'm hanging on for my life in the playoffs right now. Let's go, Rashad Penny, in the second half. It's time for Garbage Time. Guys, welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Tonight it is me, Joe, Ryan, and JJ. How are you boys doing tonight besides your fucking playoff games?
What playoff games?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about... You know what playoff matchup I am loving, though?
The one I'm currently losing?
Ron is losing, and if he would have been playing Smith, like what should have happened before he did his shady playoff bracket, he would have won that matchup.
Yeah, well,
So,
karma comes full around, I guess.
Fantasy football karma still exists.
Well, what did I deserve to have to sweat out the second half knowing I'm probably about to be eliminated? Because that's some bullshit right there. I put all of our drops together all day. I work hard on this podcast, and this is what I get 2 years in a row, 5th place. Bullshit.
You're good 5th place, Joe.
Besides that, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Good.
Awesome. What'd you guys think of the football games from this past weekend? Was it a weird weekend?
Yeah. It was.
Very weird weekend, and I don't really want to talk about the events that occurred last night, so...
Yeah, well, we already did the recap show, so you're not going to luckily have to get into that, and we can skate right over this. Guys, if you want to join the Heckling Fandom and support the show too, like this video and subscribe at the bottom. You can also visit us at www.garbagetimeff.com, where you can leave us voicemails or hate mails right on the right side of the web bar, and we will play them live on the show. Christian does it all the time, and we're more than happy to play it. Also, you can find this show through audio on Spotify, Google, Apple, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts like TuneIn and iHeartRadio. And with that, guys, are you guys ready to get into the news?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
News updates.
All right, and just like in the news last week, COVID is running rampant around the NFL. So let's start off with a quarterback that has gone on the reserve COVID list. Jared Goff is on the reserve COVID list for the Lions. Does this have any fantasy impact coming into this week? Maybe for Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah. I think it might help Hawkinson a little bit. Maybe did a lot of checkdowns there. But Hawkinson's done for the year.
Yeah, you mean it's not going to help at all?
My brain blocked out that trauma.
Careful, Ryan. I'm still looking for cold takes for Christmas.
my brain blocked out that trauma because I have him in almost every league. And it was
that might be a cold take right there, JJ. Some other news too. Other players going out to COVID. I would have liked to have them go out asymptomatic last week. Hill and Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be very challenging for fantasy owners this upcoming week. Do you guys think there's any potential that they can get back? And what can fantasy owners do to adjust if they're missing these players?
What are the new rules now? Do we know? Like, what is it? 2 negative tests still?
So from my understanding, players aren't going to be tested if they're vaccinated and asymptomatic. The only situations where you're going to be tested is if you don't have your shots and if you're showing symptoms, from what my understanding is. And I believe you only have to test negative for 1 day now. Is that
what you've heard, JJ? It's like a weird test where you have to be under 35 or something. I don't know what they're measuring, but did you guys see that?
Yeah, scientifically speaking, I think it's just the level of infection that you won't spread it to other people. That's what I
do know that if Ron took a test for being under 35, he would fail because he's old.
The 5-0. The 5-0.
Happy birthday, Ron. Hope you had a great one Saturday.
Yeah, he would definitely fail that test. So, guys, what can fantasy owners do to adjust for this in the upcoming week?
Pray.
That's all you can do? You're fucked?
We'll get into that on some of these waiver guys.
Yeah.
Got a couple other Chiefs to mention. Historically, though, the problem with the Chiefs has been if one of those two big dogs is out, there's no one that really is able to step in and do what they do because one is the fastest wide receiver in the NFL and the other is the best tight end in the NFL. So
What does this do to Mahomes?
Honestly, I don't think this is going to affect Mahomes that much. I think he'll still spread the ball around. I think what he's going to look to do is check down maybe to Edwards-Helaire, which could actually benefit from this. And Williams could be an interesting flex play if you're looking for an emergency play this week too. As long as all those guys don't go down with COVID too, because it feels like the entire league's going down with COVID currently. What's your guys' thoughts on those two players?
I agree. Missing those guys, the game plan definitely, I mean, it should go to more of a ground approach. So they've kind of been splitting carries weirdly, but I definitely could see an uptick in carries for Edwards-Helaire. So
yeah, and
have him and you're in the playoffs, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, and as JJ alluded to, this may put some of the Chiefs wide receivers on the waiver radar this week, and I'm sure he's going to allude to that a little bit going forward too. And some other news too, A.J. Brown was designated for return. Do you guys anticipate him playing this weekend?
Now I would say definitely. I mean, Bruce Arians can't draw a hard line and say you're off the team when he just lost Chris Godwin for the season.
Ryan,
And
you're struggling, bud.
am I? What happened?
A.J. Brown from the
Oh,
Titans.
not Antonio? I need to stop looking at my phone. Can we talk about Antonio Brown?
Yeah, we'll get to it. Don't worry.
I'm going to go take a nap. I'll be back.
Did you turn 36 today or something?
Freaking feel like it, man.
A.J. Brown, talk about him.
Yeah, I think they'll probably try and rush him back, especially after losing that tough one to the Steelers. They're kind of in win now mode. Though they don't, the Colts are breathing right down their neck, so they have to win. And Julio, soft tissue injury specialist Jones is probably going to miss this week. So would not be surprised if A.J. Brown got back in the mix this week.
With all these injuries and COVID, who's the favorite for the number one seed in the AFC right now?
Probably the Chiefs. They're playing the Steelers this week, so I mean the way the Chiefs defense has been playing a little better, I think they can probably keep them close enough and let Mahomes just put the team on his back and win with their backups.
Ryan?
So
yeah, I'm gonna say the Chiefs. I mean, they have the Steelers, then the Bengals, and then the Broncos. The Patriots are right behind them, but we got another tough Bills matchup coming up, and then we also have the Dolphins. So I would say, I
very,
agree.
very interesting for your playoff implications because the Bills hold the tiebreaker over you if they win, and that Dolphins team is hot. So you better get one out of those two, or you're going to be looking at a very interesting week up in your last week.
I think we're good for wild card spot at minimum.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty tight. Better win one of those two, no doubt. And some other news too, not directly fantasy relevant, but something that could affect fantasy players on that team too. Corey Linsley for the Chargers, an offensive lineman, went on the COVID list too. I believe this could affect the quarterback play and the running backs on this team too. Do you guys think that losing such a prolific offensive lineman could affect that Chargers offense?
I mean, it hurts. You might get a couple bad snaps, but I don't think it's a backbreaker. They're not. I mean, Eckler's not a power runner that goes up the gut. I mean, he's a strong little dude, but I mean, I think they'll be fine. It's definitely a tough loss. He's the captain of the line too, so but I think they'll be able to manage.
Okay. And JJ, did you have any other news you wanted to talk about before we got into the waivers?
I think you've hit on all the guys I had written down. So really the big news today was the Kansas City outbreak. So
yeah, it's going to be hell getting to the finale of most fantasy playoffs here. It's definitely been an interesting few weeks.
I guess a piece of news that's kind of happening now is Antonio Gibson, of course, got hurt. They're playing right now, but he has a toe injury. So he scored a touchdown in the first half, and Jalen Hurts just scored a touchdown too. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think with that, we're ready to get into the waiver show, and there's definitely some interesting pieces with that. So let's get into it. All right, boys. What position would you guys like to talk about first tonight?
Running back.
Oh, there's actually quite a few on this list this week because, and a
Into
lot of
it.
the names are going to be very familiar to last week too, because not everybody listens to Garbage Time Fantasy Football and picks these guys up. So you're going to obviously have to listen to us again this week to get it through your head. So first running back, I think that's going to be the most interesting piece for people, and people are going to have to consider are obviously Ronald Jones. For the reason that the star running back, Leonard Fournette, Uncle Lenny, has gone down for the Bucs for at least the immediate future. And Ronald Jones, in his absence, averaged 7.1 yards a carry. Do you guys have any confidence in Ronald Jones as a fill-in? And is there a chance he goes straight to the bench if he fucks up and fumbles the ball?
I have confidence that position, that role on the Bucs is very valuable, especially with as much as Brady's been throwing to the running backs. Like you alluded to, a fuck up could lead to Giovanni Bernard coming in and just acting as that pass catching back. Is Bernard going to come back this week?
I'm not sure, but Keyshawn Vaughn's back there too. So someone that's a younger running back that they may be interested in getting some work too.
Yeah, I didn't see the injury report today.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but they are signing Bell. Do you think that's just
That's some more news?
Do you foresee that having any level of fantasy implications?
Fuck Bell. No, seriously, fuck Bell, dude. He is so long in the tooth. Just he's nothing more than a waiver wire ad and in the back of the end bench player at this point. Dude, just retire. Go do your rap videos. Go try out boxing because you were calling out a big-time celebrity boxer today saying you want to fight the guy, and go get on your jet ski because obviously you like Florida too. Stay away from football and go into other endeavors. We wish you a good retirement. You were good for a few years with the Steelers. It's time to go away. Stay away from football.
Joe, it sounds like a little personal as a Jets fan over there.
Yeah. Well, he kind of reminds me of the Adam Gase era, so yeah, it's a little personal.
Also, I slapped myself in the face. I completely forgot that Bernard got put on IR last week.
Yes, so, I wasn't the first one to screw up.
Yes,
I was the first. I was the first.
Perfect for the Christmas takes.
It is worth noting too that the Buccaneers, their upcoming schedules are against Carolina and then against the Swiss cheese Jets.
Yeah, obviously we know they're Swiss cheese.
Very favorable matchups for whoever ends up getting that bell cow role.
Yeah, it's much easier in that last week when you're going to be playing, the Pee-wee team of the Jets defense. So good luck the next 2 weeks. We may be picking number 1 overall if we lose to the Jaguars. So in the way the Lions have been playing, not rooting for it. I'd like some more wins, but it's very possible. Any other things that you'd like to discuss about Ronald Jones or the running back situation with the Bucs, guys?
Nope.
It's definitely something I'm watching. Like if they trust him enough to just thrust him into that Fournette role where Fournette was getting all the rushing and passing work.
Okay.
I think it could be a little bit more of a mix, but
all right. So let's talk about someone that was already on my radar last week and should have been on everybody else's radar. I kind of felt like too. I added him to my dynasty team and he had a very good week. And I think he's going to get the workload going forward just to keep the team healthy too, is Craig Reynolds. He led the team last week. I understand that Williams had COVID last week and he's a big piece of that, but Swift is hurt. And I think they're going to want to try to keep him healthy too. And even with Williams there, I could see Craig Reynolds really getting the first and second down work there. What's your guys' thoughts on Craig Reynolds and in waiver priority? Where does he fit up to Ronald Jones?
I think he's after Jones at this point. I think Williams got activated yesterday, I'm pretty sure. They activated him off the COVID list, so he's back. So it will be interesting. I know Williams is a great pass protector and everything, so I think you probably hit the nail on the head that Reynolds could be the first and second down guy, and Williams could be the third down back. I don't know. It just Reynolds seems like he fits exactly into the identity that the Lions want to have, like a cool story, undrafted free agent that's running hard, and number 46 is a running back. Like it just has a feel that he's kind of the identity of the offense right now, especially if Goff is out and they have to play Boyle or Blow.
Blow.
One of those two. Wow. But I call him Blow. But
yeah, well, he really does fit the identity of Motor City Dan Campbell's team there. And I didn't think I was going to say this, but at the end of the season, I really like what he's doing there. He's really bringing the talent up of these thought to be untalented players. He's getting the most out of them. And we saw that the last week. Imagine if they actually get some talent into this team that's been perked up and seems to have a personality here. They might do something here in a few years. I'm not saying next year, but give it a few years, and he may have something there with them. Ryan,
It's
did you
worth
want to say anything?
noting that
Go ahead.
I just want to say it's worth noting that Joe has said the same exact thing about the Jets for the last 10 years.
That is definitely noteworthy, and
It's what you tell yourself when you're a fan of a terrible team, Ryan.
that is true. And JJ would
I've never
allude to
been
that
there.
after yesterday's result. Yeah, just bad all around. We're looking forward to the offseason, put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, so did you have anything to say about Craig Reynolds, Ryan, or are you ready to move on?
Nope, I'm good to move on.
All right. What do we do with Duke Johnson? So he led the backfield here with the Dolphins, even though Myles Gaskins and Amon were both healthy technically for the Dolphins. I don't
Who's
really
Myles
know.
Gaskins?
Gaskin.
I wasn't gonna
Take
say
away
it.
the S. I'm never going to get over that. Anyway, Duke Johnson led them in carries last week. Does he have any viability for the Dolphins going forward? And do you think he's cemented himself as creating a role in this offense?
I don't know. I don't like Miami's backfield. They're annoying.
Yeah, and I think Ron said it yesterday. No offense, Joe, but they did play the Jets, so
It's not no offense. I already know that.
So yeah, I'm not too psyched about it. Who does Miami play this week?
It's not the Jets.
I lost. I had it before. I lost it.
They play the Saints
Yeah.
on Monday.
I don't really want to play Duke Johnson versus Saints personally, but if you're desperate, it seems like Flores likes him. He gave him a big opportunity, and he capitalized on it. Honestly, earned himself a contract. So, yeah, I mean, if you're really desperate and you got Fournette or you're killed by COVID, and Eckler doesn't end up playing or something, I mean, he's going to get touches, I think.
Yeah, so do you see him more in a flex role right now?
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess.
I don't
if you must. This is more of a break glass and play if needed.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about someone I think you guys are going to be a little bit more interested in than Jeff Olson. Over 100 yards last week. What's his role in this 49ers offense, which seems to have a lot of pieces rolling right now?
Again, it's an unclear backfield, I think, because the report out, I believe it was today, was that Elijah Mitchell's knee took a positive turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like he has a real shot to be active Thursday, and if he is, I think they're going to roll him out there first before Wilson.
Okay. Ryan, you have any thoughts?
Nope, pretty much what JJ said.
Okay, and is there any reason we should have interest in either Devontae Foreman or Jordan Howard? Let me remind you, Howard's playing the Giants this week, and Freeman, for some reason, led the Ravens in routes. Interested in either one?
I mean, Jordan Howard will probably get the goal line work.
And the Giants do fucking suck, so.
I was going to say, and he has the Giants coming up week 16. Depending on where you're at COVID-wise and stuff, it might be worth a look. I mean, throw him in there just for the goal line, the red zone work.
It sounds like you really don't want to go this direction, though, Ryan.
I don't love it, but he was averaging like just 13 carries a game.
You guys were all about Ronald Jones and Craig Reynolds, and after that, you just are just like, wow, this running back situations just fucking suck.
Basically, yeah.
All right. If you got nothing else to add for that, I've got one name I think that'll be interesting to both of you, considering how we're going to monitor this week. Samaje Perine, I think, is an interesting piece considering Joe Mixon's injury from this past weekend, but it's something you have to monitor. Should Joe Mixon be out this weekend, do you guys think Samaje Perine could have a very prominent role for the Bengals? And is he someone to monitor as a potential ad later on in the week?
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Go ahead,
Go
Ryan.
ahead, JJ.
No.
No, you can go.
I've been leading. No, you
All
go.
No, it's Ryan Warner's turn. Let's
The
go.
floor is all mine. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth watching. And he showed that he can produce if Mixon is out. If you look at Week 16 last year, I was looking into that. Put up 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he can have those big games when he's given the bulk of the work.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth monitoring, especially if Joe Mixon ends up being out. I don't know if I put him like number 1 on waiver priority.
Definitely not.
I guess it's going to depend on what news comes out of the Bengals camp regarding Joe Mixon. I mean, they're probably not going to be super transparent with what's going on, but
I think if I had to take a flyer on him, and specifically for the running backs this week, in this order, I would specifically put them. I think Ronald Jones would be my number 1 ad for the week. He can definitely help you win your league the next 2 weeks, I believe. Craig Reynolds has proven that he is viable for Detroit. I think he's number 2 on this list. I think I would add Jeff Wilson as my number 3 here over Duke Johnson. I understand Duke Johnson may get work here, but I think Jeff Wilson's shown an established part to be in that 49ers offense, but you obviously have to monitor what's going on with that backfield because who the fuck knows what's going to happen with it because they like to rush their wide receivers at that position now too, so who knows? And then with the ugly line passes after Duke Johnson, where you have your Foreman, Howard, and Samaje P. Ryan. Samaje P. Ryan being at the top of that list, so maybe as your 5th waiver priority running back.
I do have one other name just to throw out there.
Sure.
As an Eckler owner who's kind of nervous about this day-to-day nonsense, any interest from you guys in Justin Jackson for the Chargers?
Yes. He is a viable running back. He showed that last week with the Chiefs. I mean, against the Chiefs. They got a lot of work with him in there. He's definitely viable.
Yeah. I definitely think if you're an Eckler owner, you should probably be giving him a look if he's available.
You should have been handcuffing him to begin with, even before playoffs started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The Chargers play the Texans this week, so that's a great matchup. Obviously, the Texans, I think kind of the mindset when you have fantasy players going against them is that whatever team it is, they're probably going to get up big and want to run in the second half. So could definitely be a lot of touches there for Jackson, especially if Eckler is out. So, and just to circle back to P. Ryan, I would rank him a little higher than Joe did. Based on some of the names, just because I think that Mitchell is probably going to come back, and if Mixon is out, that job is probably P. Ryan's, and he's probably going to get 20 touches. So, and when you're playing the Bengals, you're going to want to. I mean, the Ravens' game plan is going to be to stop Higgins and Chase, so I don't think they're going to load the box for Samaje P. Ryan.
Okay. I would say there's an apology bet here, JJ, but I don't know if he's going to start this weekend, so I don't know if we can do that. It'd have to be based on the fact he's starting. Maybe we'll find something a little bit more interesting later on in the show.
Okay, we'll circle back.
I haven't found a topic yet, but there will be a topic.
Let me ask this though. I only listened to the first 20 minutes of the podcast yesterday, but you guys didn't talk about the Malcolm Brown Duke Johnson bet, did you?
So actually, I did cover that, and luckily for him, we did wash that. And I told him, I go, you understand if we wouldn't have washed that, you would have gotten your ass kicked, and you would be apologizing again, right? So I think Ron owes us.
What do you mean you washed it?
So we saw that Gaskin and the other guy were going to be active. Yeah, Ahmed. And we thought that neither one of our guys were going to get any carries. So we washed the bet over in the chat, and Duke Johnson got a shitload of carries. Surprised all of us.
Down. You both
we did.
Unacceptable.
Not really a back down. Both just went active. We thought our players were going to be inactive.
Where's their commitment? You gotta.
Are you saying that me and Ron need to come up with another bet before we get you guys involved in another one?
Probably. I mean, I think that's only fair.
I'm not afraid of a bet. Screw it.
I think we need to get Ryan into some more. He's only done one.
We do need to get Ryan involved.
Maybe we'll have
I don't think we can
four-way
rip JJ any
apology
more
bet.
than we have.
Yeah, we can. We can find stuff.
What else are you gonna write?
Oh, we can be creative.
You piece of shit! You got cut from the JV basketball team, loser.
I remember that one time in high school you were sitting by yourself at lunch. You big loser.
Hey guys, if you're watching this right now too, the last 2 weeks we've been doing these stupid bits, and I think they're going to continue. It's the apology bet, where we take one side of a bet based on players or someone getting fired, which worked out in my favor with Urban Meyer last week. And then when someone ends up fucking losing the bet, ultimately the winner gets to write the loser's apology and they have to read it live on air. So go back to the shows the last few weeks and you can actually watch them. They're quite enjoyable and we'll have a lot more of those in the future. So with that, guys, do you guys want to get into the wide receiver position now?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
So let me just hedge this real quick and say this because he's probably not on your waivers, but you definitely have to go freaking check it out to see if he is Antonio Brown. So he may have been dropped in some leagues, probably not there, but you definitely want to go check to see if he's in your league. He's definitely going to be the number one wide receiver for the Bucs this week, just off the amount of injuries coming off that. And he hadn't played since week 7 or 8 currently at this point. So a lot of people may have dropped him and he may be a forgotten soul on the waiver wire. So just go see if he's there. What do you guys think that the impact of Antonio Brown is going to be on the fantasy playoffs these following weeks?
Big. I mean, you guys talked to Sean a little bit yesterday, I think, but he's going to get his touches with Godwin out, and Mike Evans, every year he has a damn hamstring injury. So what he's going to do is he's going to come in for a play, make a 20-yard catch, then wave his hand and want to come off the field. He'll come off the field for 3 or 4 plays and go back in and do it all over again. So Brown's going to stay on the field. He's going to be involved, and yeah, I mean, Godwin kind of has just taken off with that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type role for Brady. So his targets have gone up, his receptions have gone up. So there's a lot of targets to fill.
Is he going to be putting in wide receiver 1 numbers right off the bat?
Probably.
What's your opinions on that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think he goes right back into doing what he was doing before. Chris Godwin out. Mike Evans, is he officially out or
Godwin?
No, Evans.
Oh, I thought you said Godwin. It's like, dude, he's out for the year.
Questionable.
No, Godwin's out for the year, but Evans got injured as well.
Yeah, no, I know, hamstring.
So,
That's not what I was talking about.
I would just like to point out that DJ Dallas just ran in a touchdown, not Rashad Penny. So fuck off, Pete Carroll.
Mother effer. Are you serious? Can I even get some hope? Just a remote amount of hope. Fucking DJ Dallas. Fuck off, Pete Carroll. You just ended my season, you little asshole.
It's like the Jets. Yeah, we're gonna really use Michael Carter this week.
You're worse than Urban Meyer.
Unbelievable.
Unfucking believable. Ending my fucking playoff run. 5th place again. I'm so pissed. Can't ever beat Tommy, dude.
Heartbreaker.
You're a nice number 5, Joe.
I still have a little bit of time. Not. Oh, God. Can't believe I'm going to finish lower than Ron.
Well, it could be. I mean,
wait, you won't finish lower than him. You guys got to battle it out.
Oh, great. I'm going to battle it out for 5th or 6th place.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
At least you're not in the toilet bowl with JJ.
Oh, yeah, that's true, JJ. You may
run the toilet bowl.
Yeah, well, you may get the toilet bowl sent to you.
No, that's your brother-in-law. He had the worst record.
Yeah, it doesn't go by worst records. Who wins the toilet bowl loser championship? He won it last year.
I lost.
Exactly. Yeah, so you're still in the toilet bowl, bud.
Wait, if you lose, you go on?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you lose, you advance.
Oh shit.
You may be trading trophies.
Oh God.
All hail the shit king.
He said he wasn't gonna get it. He might. Fucking horrible. What a bad year for this podcast.
Yeah.
Ryan wins, I guess, and redeems us somehow. All right, with Ryan's agreeing take that doesn't give us any bad takes ever because he agrees with everything we say. Let's move on with Antonio Brown.
Play it safe.
Wait, I do have to point this out that Joe, you did win the shit trophy in my dynasty league. So
yeah, well, I told you there's no in between with me. But I did plan on just completely tanking my team for the season. So I mean, it was bound to happen, right? All right, so let's talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Absolutely fantastic. Since week 13, he's had 30% of the targets with the Lions, and he continued his dominance last week. Are you guys thoroughly impressed with him and see your number one waiver option at the wide receiver position this week?
Yeah, if AB's gone, then he's number one, I'd say. It does suck that Goff is on the COVID list. And if he did test positive, it's highly unlikely that he plays Sunday. So,
Yeah.
that's discouraging because of the chemistry him and Goff had. But yeah, if AB's gone, he's got to be your number one priority, I think.
Ryan?
Yeah, I agree. Without him there, he's the go-to guy.
Okay. And what are your guys' thoughts on Gabriel Davis here? I mean, we mentioned him as a wide receiver too last week, and he had 2 touchdowns this week. Is he consistently going to be a giant piece of this Buffalo offense going forward?
Yeah, I think Cole Beasley tested positive too.
Yeah,
today.
that's big, I think.
So
Yeah,
I definitely think that improves Davis's value.
I agree. And even if Sanders comes back, I would think that Sanders would move into the slot role where Beasley was, and Davis would stay on that other outside spot opposite Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely like Davis. I think he has just a promising future with the Bills going forward. I think he's going to be their number 2 receiver for a while. I'm pretty happy I have him in the Dynasty League.
What position are you guys looking to draft him at currently for next year? Where do you think he falls? I understand we got a long way to go, but is he obviously a draftable asset now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So who's the bigger pickup this week? St. Brown or Gabriel Davis?
I'm gonna say Davis because Goff, COVID, the fact that it's the Lions, and I'm gonna take Davis on Buffalo.
Ew. Okay. With that, let's move on to our next player here. We have Russell Gage, who this past week, 60 yards. He's had over 60 yards the last 4 games, 91 yards and a touchdown. What's your guys' thoughts on him? Is he a centerpiece of this very awful Falcons offense?
I feel like this dude's been on like the last 11 waiver shows.
He has been.
Yeah, and I still can't believe he's only taken in like 50% of leads. Like that kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah, people don't believe in him for some reason. Don't know what to really take of that.
Yeah, if you have God, I usually have the matchups memorized. I forgot who the Falcons are playing this week.
You're just all thrown off because you're not in the fantasy playoffs right now.
No, the Bears put me in it's tough for me to podcast days after the Bears lose the way they did. I'm just usually in a state of depression.
It's been
I think
happening
they're
quite
playing
often
Detroit.
lately, huh? Quite depressing, I know.
Yeah, so they're playing Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't win that one.
Yeah, they're playing Detroit. So if you have Tyreek Hill, who's on the COVID list, Gage is definitely a viable filler for sure.
Okay. Do you guys have any interest in Kadarius Toney coming off potentially injury, playing against the Eagles next week?
Yeah.
It depends who starts. When he played with Glennon hyper targeted him. He had that like 189-yard receiving game that he got ejected from. So they seem to have a bit of chemistry. So yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I don't see why the Giants wouldn't start Fromm unless they're using Glennon for what he's best at, and that's tanking. So,
right. All right, so we'll move on from that player. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, as much as you hate him, JJ,
COVID.
is he viable?
COVID. He went on the COVID list today.
Oh, shit, so not viable.
No,
Scratch him off the list, just like many, many other players, it feels like.
I think I read it's like 10% of the league right now.
Yeah, I read the same exact thing. It's absolutely running rampant in the league.
But we absolutely cannot cancel weeks.
No, absolutely not. Right at the beginning of the season, they said if you could not field the team, you would be forfeiting. And here we go with Tuesday Night Football.
Well, so, then they come out with a rule that basically just said we just won't test people, and then they can't test positive. Why didn't we think of this before?
Amazing.
It's great.
Okay. With that, we'll talk about our next player too. Any interest in Devontae Parker? I mean, 68 yards and a touchdown.
Waddle just got taken off of IR, right?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
I
I
mean,
mean, he's
Parker,
interesting.
he put up 16 points, but it's against the Jets. So, like, I feel like you got to cut that number in half. And that's what he would do against a typical team.
So he'd be useless, is what you're saying.
Well, and they are going up against the Saints, who I feel like I can't say shut down Tom Brady. They kind of just, like, took away all of his weapons by injuring them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was a solid strategy, but it's a solid defense for sure. Maybe Bounty Gate is back on. Maybe that's what happened.
I mean, it was 9-3. It just they wiped out the entire wide receiving core, and that seemed to work for them. They're like, you know what? There's something to do this injuring players thing, and it's worked previously in the past. Maybe we'll bring it around, as Ryan alluded to.
Let's circle back to that.
You were really wondering why the head coach wasn't in the game. It's not because he had COVID. It's because he was handing out money.
He had to go to the bank.
Yeah, Sean Baker.
It's ironic because Kevin James is doing that movie covering. Yeah, I'm sure you guys saw that, but he's playing Sean Payton in that movie when he was out on Bounty Gate. So relevant again.
Definitely interesting.
Hey.
I mean, there's nothing there, and it's just kind of a running joke, but still kind of cool to talk about. Well, if we're talking about Saints players, let's talk about Marquez Callaway. I mean, he had over 100 yards in this game, even in a game script that not many players did very well. Do you guys like him going forward?
I feel like he has a good game, and we all talk about him, and people pick him up, and then he just doesn't do anything.
JJ?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Ryan, and
it's a bot. Don't worry about that comment.
It's a fucking bot like Taysom Hill is. So no. Yeah, I really agree with Ryan. You know, he's showing flashes, and I think he's talented. It's just the Saints are just pretty unpredictable from week to week. So if you're desperate, but
flex play at all?
There's so much more though. There's like so many more options I'd rather look at. All
right, let's get real disgusting here. Any interest in Laquan? I can't even say his name. Laquan Treadwell. I mean, he's been productive for the Jaguars, and he continues to be productive.
I'll tell you what, just bringing that up, Marvin Jones has been such a disappointment.
Yeah, he might be trophy of one of the most disappointing fantasy players of the year, and may come up in our award show in one way or another, which I'm sure we'll be doing after the season. I mean, there's been much more disappointing players this season, but he's definitely up there, I think, considering where you drafted him to. Is there any wide receivers you guys want to talk about that I didn't cover?
No, man. I think you got it.
There are just the Chiefs guys.
Yeah, I didn't cover any of these.
You got Hill and Kelsey out, so they're going to be looking for pass catchers. One of the other Chiefs tight ends also went on the COVID list, so look for. I mean, I'm not sure who's going to step in. You know, the logical choice is Hardman, just to fill the fast Tyreek Hill role, but we've seen in games where when the Chiefs were really struggling, he hyper targeted Demarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle got involved. Josh Gordon caught his first touchdown with the Chiefs last week. So it's probably a wait and see week, which we're running out of time. But
Cooper Kupp touchdown. Sorry, Joe.
And that's a dagger. I'm eliminated.
I'm happy I could deliver that news.
Yes, I'm so happy that I'm getting eliminated from the fantasy playoffs live on air. Just nothing's better. Just so typical of garbage time fantasy football that this bullshit happens to me live on air. Anyway, all right. So, yeah. What were you saying about the Chiefs wide receivers, JJ? I just completely went into my own world now.
I didn't really say much. I was just kind of blabbering, not coming up with a viable guy to add. If I could add one, it would probably be Hardman. But
I mean, Hardman kind of feels like the only option that I could somewhat trust. I mean, Gordon, Pringle,
I think you said it earlier, like you think Mahomes is going to be viable still, but he's going to spread it around. I think that's pretty accurate. Like you don't know who's going to get it. Every guy could have 4
I think
or
you
5
could
catches.
see 7, 8 different guys catching passes. Just whoever the hell's open.
Yep.
He's just going to read off and pass. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be very viable. I think Darrell Williams, interestingly enough, I think will be very viable. He's been involved in the passing game, and I mean, the top 2 options are down. Why not? So he could be viable. All right, let's cover a few quarterbacks. There's not a ton on the waiver wire this week, but obviously Jimmy G, right? He's playing, I believe, Tennessee coming this week. What's your guys' thoughts on that matchup? Thoughts on the matchup?
I like Jimmy G. I mean, we've been talking about Jimmy G for a few weeks now, just saying how good his end of the year schedule is. And I still stand by that. You should have picked him up 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been solid. I should have freaking started him over Tom Brady. I know that.
Yeah, well, nobody could have predicted that, dude. Oh wait, that's right. I did.
Well,
Hot
you're
take.
ugly. So
Hot take. I've had a lot of them lately. JJ, thoughts on this performance that Jimmy Garoppolo could give us?
He's viable. He's just the ceiling is not 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. His ceiling is probably 280 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. So, I don't know. He's a safe guy. I think. I think he's pretty safe. It should be a pretty competitive game between these 2 teams, especially with it in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he's gonna have to throw the whole game. So yeah, I got no problem with Jimmy G on Thursday night.
Okay. Someone else I wanted to bring up this week, which will be kind of interesting considering COVID is running through the other team. Big Ben is playing against the Chiefs this week. I understand, we don't like to really go this direction, but they give up 28 points. They're 28th against the pass in fantasy football for defenses. So is he viable against the Chiefs? Someone you can play in an emergency?
I pretty much don't have any interest in doing that. Like, I know Kevin James is playing Sean Payton, but present day Kevin James can probably accurately play Ben Roethlisberger today. So
probably could.
I don't know. The Chiefs defense has been playing a little better. It's in KC. It's in Arrowhead. They're typically more stout on defense there. I like the Chiefs defense as a potential defensive dominator.
Ooh, so you're not playing Big Ben at all this week then?
I don't have interest in Big Ben now.
Okay. All right. So, Ryan, same opinion? Avoid this guy on the waiver wire?
I'm not about it.
All right. What other quarterbacks are you guys interested in as potential ads for the week?
I saw that a Jets beat reporter said the offense is better off without Zach Wilson, and Mike White just came off the COVID list, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Zach Wilson's going to be starting for the rest of the year.
Kidding.
I mean, Mike White was on pace for like 8,000 yards at one point. So it's definitely
8,000 yards, huh?
It's definitely worth giving him a look with my Joe math.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly, if I, in the very first game I ever played, like made it into the Hall of Fame, like they put that ball in the Hall of Fame or whatever, just retire, like right then.
He's made a career of it.
You're done.
And Mike White should only be on dynasty teams. So what you're saying is if you don't have Jimmy Garoppolo and your starters are out, you're pretty much fucked in the fantasy playoffs?
Well, the names are going to be like Drew Lock, who's going to start this week versus the Raiders.
What about Huntley? Is Lamar coming back this week?
It's close. They have to win. So
if he doesn't start, Huntley could save your team. He played pretty well last week. He's he 2 touchdowns through the air and 2 on the ground. He's the first Raven to do that. Not even Lamar Jackson's done that.
Yep. Yeah,
he's gonna be a fun piece to see where he goes next year.
I think they're trying to retain him, but
we'll see. I don't think they're going to franchise tag him. So
no, definitely not that. But
pull out the checkbook.
Rob was talking about him being potentially competition for his quarterback there with the Giants. I think that would be good competition. I mean, I think anyone would be good competition for him.
I was
though,
gonna
'cause he
say.
sucks. I mean, a certain backup that used to be a starter for the Bears might be good competition for him, right? Mitch Trubisky.
Don't get me started. I almost hung his jersey. I swapped out the jerseys. I almost hung his jersey, but I didn't want to disrespect Fields. But I'm just gonna say this. Put up Roquan Smith to show my support for him getting completely snubbed from the Pro Bowl for the third consecutive season. So it's absolutely disgusting.
Maybe you can put up the Trubisky jersey for the Christmas special. That's what I think. That's what
I have had a lot of cold takes about him, but
It is true though, like being a really good player, but if you're on a shit team, like you just get overlooked so much. Like it's not okay. It's not
Fred Warner's going to make the Pro Bowl, and Roquan Smith has 40 more tackles, 3 more sacks, an interception, and a defensive touchdown.
It's probably because he has the same last name as a famous podcaster. That's why he got into the Pro Bowl.
Absolutely. It's the only reason. All right, let's talk about some tight ends that could potentially be okay this week. I don't think any of these guys will, but we still got to cover these guys.
Tight end has been so bad. I started Tyler Conklin this week, and it was a terrible time.
I think you could still potentially pay him next week. that's saying something. Any interest in Gerald Everett? What's he doing tonight? I'm avoiding that game because I don't really want to know what's going on with that. So can you play Gerald Everett next week?
He's having a good game right now. So
I think
what do you got on him for stats right now?
Oh, forever? He has 4 catches for 60 yards right now.
Yeah, so he sounds viable, even against the Rams.
I think the only tight end I'm looking at is who is it for the Jaguars? O'Shaughnessy or something like that.
James O'Shaughnessy
had a pretty decent game this last week. I think he could be a very viable plug and play.
Yeah, he was on this list too. Any of us want to go down the Evan Ingram role? He's playing against the Eagles, who are absolutely awful against the tight end.
Yeah, Jimmy O'Shag Hennessy.
Jimmy O'Fantasy.
Yeah. Joe, ask that again. I was reading Jalen Hurts fumbled, and I was reading what happened.
Would you have any interest in going down the Evan Ingram path against the Eagles?
No.
You got to ask every once in a while if you're willing to stuck on that trap every once.
Talented kid, doesn't get the opportunities, and when he does, for whatever reason, the Giants drops him.
Do you want to see him traded this offseason?
I think he might be a free agent.
You think he could revive his career somewhere else?
Yeah. I think he's definitely talented, and pretty much anyone will do better not on the Giants. So
that's fair. And there's a reason why they've got 2 first-round picks, one of them being the Bears, which will also be a top 10 pick. What about C.J. Uzomah this week? Any interest in C.J. Uzomah? I'm really, really going down the pipe now.
No.
Any other tight ends I haven't listed, guys?
No, the tight end.
Are you just screwed at this point in the season? You shouldn't even be playing in the playoffs if you're going this far down the list.
The tight end position is brutal.
Cole Kmet's there. Cole Kmet's been mentioned every week, though.
Yeah, he had 6 catches for 71 yards, and if he could fucking catch, he would have had over 100 yards. He drops half his passes. He's getting all kinds of targets.
He's your guys' version of Evan Ingram.
He is, but he's getting the volume.
He's still young, though. He's got time. He's got time to get those.
Yeah, he's only 22, but
he's very
got to be better.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard when you've got the overwhelming shadow of Grandpa Jimmy Graham sitting over the top of you. So don't worry. Cole Kmet will come into his own. I think he's going to be a good tight end in this league. All right, let's lastly cover the defenses here. I've got 3 listed. Interestingly enough, 2 are in the same exact game. I think it's going to be an absolute slobber knocker with the Seahawks and Bears, and I think both viable plays against each other next week. What are your guys' thoughts on these 2 defenses?
Fields is fumbling at a Daniel Jones type rate this rookie season. So, I mean, I had no problem with the Seahawks. The Bears should get all their starting DBs back. They may have had a find in Thomas Graham, their cornerback that they drafted and just didn't play all season, and then they finally played him, and he's a stud.
It's amazing how that happens.
Had these other guys out just getting burned all season, and they just had this guy sitting there. But total Bears move. But yeah, I think both are viable. Robert Quinn has been on a tear, so they're getting sacks, and so.
I think I'm all in on, and I've been in on them a while, and they're probably rostered in almost every league. But Dallas's defense has just been on a tear.
Yeah, they're not really on the waiver wire at this point. I don't think.
No, but they do have Washington coming up, so they should be able to dominate them pretty good.
Sounds like a Thursday dominator.
If you have Dallas's defense, just ride them all year long because they're on a roll.
And like I've mentioned every week, play any defense that plays the Jets. Jacksonville is viable against the Jets this week. Jacksonville did that weird shit to Buffalo a few weeks back. There's no reason they can't do that to the Jets. I think Jacksonville is viable this week. In a desperation play.
Yeah, anybody against the Jets. Yep.
Any other defenses you guys would like to mention as waiver add-ups or good matchups for the week?
Let me look. Hold on. I just had some. The Raiders potentially. Drew Lock also loves to turn the ball over a lot, throw picks.
Yeah, he's kind of a turnover automatic machine. Yep. And they're really keeping that seat like warm for Aaron Rodgers next week.
And then I talked about him a little earlier, but the Chiefs versus.
My God, the bots are in here for power today. Like, look at this one. Another one you need to block right here. The Heckling Fandom is nothing but robots tonight. It's absolutely incredible. So that one needs to be blocked.
Fark Tech and Best Tech.
I like Tampa Bay up against Carolina. Probably a defense that's not available. But Carolina's QB situation is god-awful right now. So.
Yeah, there's only one viable player on that team, and it's Cam Newton.
Who gets pulled like every 3 quarters. So,
but they keep going back to him. It's another quarterback destination, I think, for a veteran this offseason. Oh, God, it's just so ugly. Is there anything you guys want to add to this ugly waiver show?
No, I think we pretty much touched on everybody and the injuries that this time of year, it's just going to be 1 or 2 guys most likely picked up in your league with the playoffs going. So
COVID makes it so much worse. Like the end of the season is bad enough, but the COVID is freaking killer.
The gift that just keeps on giving. JJ, give us a laydown of what's going on with your Christmas video. When should we be expecting that?
It's still in production. I'm trying to find some more cold takes from our past. So probably around the 23rd or on Christmas Eve, I'll have it completed. And I just have to find the final clips and then shoot my present stuff. So
that ought to be good for the Heckling.
What if it's just a whole episode of Ron? Just Ron's bad.
10 straight bad takes.
I could. Ron has had quite a few cold takes, and it's funny because I keep listening and he like doubles down on the cold takes. So I'm trying to decide if I should leave that part in there. So
it's just one take. It's just 3 bad takes, like 3 weeks in a row.
No one's ever said that Ron isn't confident.
Never said that.
It might be false confidence, but it's
JJ.
there.
In your experimentation of seeing all of our cold takes, who's got the most cold takes that are going to be in these videos?
You and Ron.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see these.
Ryan, you're hard to find cold takes for.
He doesn't let you pin him down.
I ride the middle of the line. I don't overly commit to anything.
No, you don't. I'm like scouring for Warner cold takes, and it's just not happening. So
I'm just like, it could happen, maybe.
I know you've never vehemently like come out and said like, no, this is definitely what's going to happen. Just hasn't happened.
And the one time he did was on Jonathan Taylor, and he was on my side, and we all know how that went. So,
oh God, yeah. All right, I think with that we're ready to wrap the show up, right, guys?
Yes,
all right,
sir.
so you can find Garbage Time Fantasy Football here, guys, on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the show. We're also on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, www.garbagetimeff.com. Ryan also does an MMA show. Once in a while, they'll do a show. I don't know when the next one is. Casey will get it together.
Don't even get me started.
I helped drop the theme for them, so there won't be any copyright issues in the future. So we'll see if they can get some episodes out.
Casey's lucky I don't have other friends, or else he'd be fired.
Anything else you guys would like to say to the Heckling Fandom before we get out of here?
The Handom, huh?
The Heckling Fandom tonight.
I think that's
like
what you're going to do next, Joe. But no, I have nothing to say.
All right. With that bullshit, good night, Heckling Fandom. Good luck in your playoff matchups.